Hey everybody, Steven here, and today I'm looking at the Govee LED neon rope light for desks. With this, we're going to get this thing unboxed. I'm going to talk about the specs here in a second, and then I will showcase me installing this, talk about that process a little bit, and then just kind of run through the app. And that's going to be a long portion because I'm going to show a lot of the different features that has. Not every single effect, but a lot of the effects that it has inside of the app because they do have a lot. With this, inside of the box, you're going to get the LED neon rope here. It has a controller on it too. You don't necessarily have to use the app, but that's really how you unlock the true potential of all the different lighting effects. You can do some basics off of the controller there, but not a ton when compared to the app. This thing has a very thick rubber base to it. The LED light strip sits in the middle of that, and then it has like another rubber, like silicone type sleeve over the top that diffuses the light. But this thing is very thick, and it has really good like tape on it, so it does adhere to your desk very well. But inside the box we have that. We have some clips, so if your desk is a square, this will help with actually allowing this to curve and bend around that desk, or if you're fitting it really on the inside of a desk is what that would be for. Then we have the end cap because you can cut this at certain points, and then we have two little cable management clips, and then we have the AC adapter here. So this is how you can plug this in. It does have a long cable length with that, which is really good. I do like that because I've had some other products where it's really short and that always gets frustrating. With this though, you see the little white marks, that's where you can cut this. We'll look at that again here in a second. In terms of the size here, this is 9.8 feet. They do sell a 16-foot version. Both of those are going to be linked in the description if you want to pick those up. Voltage is 24 volt DC, current is 1.5 amps, and this is 36 watts total. With this, I'm measuring out the desk just to see where do I need to actually cut this. So you'll want to do that. You do get some alcohol rubbing pads as well, so you can clean the surface on whatever desk you're going to put this on to make sure that it adheres properly. Again, looking at the white dots here, this is where you're going to cut this. That process is easy. Cut right through it and then you're good to go. So I found my total length and the closest one to what's going to fit my desk without being obviously too short or being too long, because if it's too long it's not going to fit at all. So once I actually do get this cut, I will showcase the inside of what this looks like, because again, it's just that rubber base. You have the silicone or rubber on top of it, and then the LED light strip sits in the middle of that, and this does get very bright. So I think just depending on the size of the room, like this should be plenty bright for most people. That was my one concern with this, but it does get bright enough for my needs. Then you can put the end cap over where you've cut it, because obviously you don't want that exposed. This is me just using the alcohol rubbing pad that this comes with on the desk to make sure that everything is very clean, so that when you put this on there, it will adhere properly. After that, I went ahead and checked to make sure that, hey, since I've cut this, does this thing work properly before I go through installing all of it? And it did, and you'll see here when it lights up, it looks really cool. And then went into the install process. Probably took me maybe 10 minutes. I think doing everything is probably about a 10 to 15 minute job. If you need to cut this, cutting it, cleaning off the surface, and then actually running this along the edge of your desk. So that is the whole install process here, very easy to do. After this, let's go ahead and shift over now into the app. And like I said, I won't cover everything, but I am going to cover a lot here. And once you pull up the app, this will actually pop up when you go to add device. It'll show it there. It prompts you to short press the power button, and then you have to do your Wi-Fi. You do have to be on a 2.4 gigahertz channel, and then you are good to go. After that, this is basically saying, hey, have you cut this, or are you going to cut this, and you need to calibrate this? And that's what I ended up doing here. And what it does is it asks you, hey, at what point are you going to see this green light at the end of the strip? And when you see that, that's where you agree, and that's where it knows, hey, this is the end point of the light strip here. So this is what you're going to see me do right now. And as it's asking that, it's yes or no. Is it there? Yes or no. And then you're seeing that's 3 of 12, 4 of 12, and then it will finally pop up. And so right here, there it is. So now 7 of 12, I'm good to go. I'll click yes, and then I'm done. And then you can start doing whatever you want inside of the app. Like I said, this has a lot going on with it in terms of all the different things that you can change. So with this, Obviously the top is going to be power, but then you have the effects lab where you can create your own stuff. We'll look at that here in a little bit. Timer, snapshot, brightness, mode. This mode right here is just, hey, color mode. I want to change the color on this, and you have all the different zones in this as well. You can do it as a gradient. You can select certain ones. You can do it from the colors that I'm just choosing at the bottom right here. You can change the brightness, but it's also going to give you the little scroll dial at the bottom there for colors. It also does it for the just warm white to cool white. You have a color wheel. And then within the color wheel, you have 3 different options here. So it's a color wheel for 2, and then another one is just like various kind of color gradients right here. Colorful, surprised, sweet, grief. So you can change that there, or you can scroll over to a color wheel that doesn't have any information on it. So you just kind of scroll this wherever you want. So multiple options with that. You can save different colors that you like as well at the very bottom, which you can see that I have some down there that I've just thrown on there. With this, depending on what you're selecting and deselecting, you can change the color of this. And again, you can enable the gradient if you want to. It's hard to see from the camera angle. You will notice it more in person. Just a little bit harder to tell, like I said, on camera, but that just is going to create a gradient between the various colors that you have on this, especially if you have it so that what I'm doing right now is multiple sections of different colors. This is going to be the same if you have some of the other LED light strips as well. So I have the M1 around the 3D wall panels behind my desk. It's the same setup here with choosing different zones, and then you can change the colors, create gradients. If you go right now, because this is just a segmented tab, if you go to advanced, this is where it's just like, hey, I don't want just a color. I want to actually adjust effects with this as well. Then you get to paint on this strip, different colors, erase it, put different colors on top of that. Like there's so many different things. What's your base color gonna be? So there's a lot of stuff that you can do in the effects tab. Again, I'm not gonna showcase everything, but at the top there, if you'll notice, we have clockwise, counterclockwise, cycle. Then we have gradient and twinkle and breathe. And I have this on breathe. Then you can change the speed with that. And then all the information that I just covered down here at the bottom. And so many different things that you could change and adjust. And if you create something and that you like it, you can then go into the DIY mode and you can make something. And I will cover that a little bit as well, but you can come up with your own effects. And if you want to share those, they kind of have like a share tab where there's a bunch of different creations other people have made that you could download those effects, or you could upload yours, right, and share it with other people. So a lot of stuff that you can do with this. It's kind of just up to your imagination. To what extent you are going to do that, I think that's definitely dependent upon the person, because I'm looking at some of this stuff, and although it's a cool effect, it's like, man, if I'm gaming, that's going to be a little too intense. It's just too much going on. I don't know that I'm going to want to do that. But using this as, hey, maybe you're playing music off of your computer and you're having a party or something like that, there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do with this. Getting into the effects, this list is so long. I'm just going to start rolling through a lot of these. If you'll notice, some of them are just standalones. Forest, sunset, sunrise, start. Those are just set. Then you notice other ones. Universe A, Universe B. Some of them have a lot more. And we'll see this later when we shift to different effect tabs. Some of them go all the way up. I think the longest one goes all the way up to I. Like that's a lot of different variations on an effect. But with that, it's sometimes they look vastly different. Sometimes it's just really the same effect, just different colors. So you can go through all of these and see just kind of which one do you like. But man, it's overwhelming with the amount of different settings that they have with this. Now I'm going to scroll up towards the top here in a second. And with that, just our main tabs right now, we're on natural, then it's going to go festival, life, motion. You can adjust the speed on some of these. The main tabs, so we're in scene, but you have music, color, scene, DIY. I'm kind of going color, scene, DIY, and then we'll finish with music towards the end here. But that's the 4 main tabs. We're in scene now, natural, all those different settings, and whether or not they have a speed that you can adjust. Shifting over now to festival. Low, kind of medium, high. Some of them, it's almost like a static color, so you're not going to get any adjustment to speed because there is no speed to adjust necessarily. Or in this instance, it's really just kind of, you would ruin the effect of a candle light if you added a bunch of speed to it, so they don't have that effect there, right? Fireworks, yeah, the speed is going to be something that you could adjust here that would make a difference. But certain ones, even though it is shifting between different colors or something like that, it would just really ruin whatever the preset is. You could go create your own variation if that's something that you wanted in the DIY. So if something is pretty close but just not quite what you want, again, you have this option to create your own version of this thing. Now, going down, we have game A, B, C, D. So now you're starting to see some of these other effects. Again, multiple versions of this where in this instance, they are vastly different, but here in a little bit, we're going to see one where it's the same effect for the most part. It's just these different color variations that you have with that. So switching from this mode here, you can also just swipe. You don't have to go up and hit the tab here. Now we have life, looking at just the meditation here. And if you want to spend enough time, like I could have just literally went through every single effect. Some of them are pretty erratic, like this one, and I can't remember if it's on emotion or not. One of them is going to give like a seizure warning because it flashes a ton. So some of them may be flashy. So I'd say that's definitely something to keep in mind for people if that is potentially an issue for you. Some of the other ones that I do like are the like morning, sunset, sunrise, things like that. It's like a slow build that happens where it does shift from one color to another, which is really cool. Some of the names, kind of like other apps I've used for other lighting products where it's like comedies and then it just throws a bunch of stuff up there. It's like, I don't know where they come up with the names for some of this stuff or like, hey, that really reminds me of comedies. Like that lighting reminds, I don't know, it's kind of odd. So that is where, again, you go through all this just to see like, what is this effect gonna be really? And with these, any of the ones that travel, again, we have the speed up at the top. I have noticed with some of them too, it's not just like slow, like medium high or slow, medium fast or whatever. Like you do get like a 4th option with there. So there is a little bit more that you can do. No slider, like if you were to do the DIY, you do get a slider with the speed and things like that. So just more control there. I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead. So we went from life, emotion, game, dance. With this one, when I shift over now to dance, this is where it's saying, hey, yeah, if you have epilepsy, you may experience discomfort with this. Be careful. Looking at dance, that one goes all the way. Let's see, we have Poppin'. Again, these names. Poppin' goes all the way to I. Electro dance goes to E. And this is what I was talking about earlier, where it's like, it's kind of the same effect almost, maybe some subtle variance to it, but it's like they're just shifting colors. So almost similar, if not the exact same effect, but like a minor tweak to color, or maybe a small adjustment to color, and then they add like a little bit of flair to it, right? But you will still see that some of these are vastly different. So this is going to be the dance portion here, and then we're going to go ahead and shift gears now over to the DIY. So with DIY, once you click on that, it brings you to a tab to add. I don't have any in here right now, but I mean, you could create a ton of these different things. So once you are ready to create that, you just click on the plus, name it, put an icon. If you wanted to change that icon, you could actually add a picture to it, by the way. And then after you do that, you can put it to a different group. And you're seeing at the top, like, hey, do you want to share this and earn points? If I remember correctly, I think the points can actually earn you stuff that you could use, like coupons and stuff, towards more like Govee gear, this is where you get access to all of these different effects that we were only seeing like 6 to 8 in the color tab. Now you're getting all of these. Now we have a lot more. So looking at the Marquee Effect here, straight, gather, disperse. So multiple effects within an effect, adjust to the speed, and then adding whatever colors I want to add with this. And then this is where you're gonna see once I apply it, it will pop up on the strip itself. Until you apply it, nothing's gonna happen. So you gotta make sure you do that. And then at the end of this, if I wanted to keep this, I would save it. With this one, I'm not gonna save it. I'm just going to exit here. And now we're gonna shift over to the effects lab. So even more stuff that you can adjust with this. Color gallery, effects lab, gaming lab, harmony lab, all these different things within this. Some of it is just like a repeat of what you would find in the scenes. Other ones like the harmony lab here. Once I click on, I believe I do the rain or the thunder. Yeah, it's playing like thunder right now. It's playing that sound. You can see it where it has thunder right there in the little bubble, and it has a little pause deal on it if I want to close that out, or the X. So even if I click on a different tab, like it's still playing that. You actually have to exit that, otherwise it's going to continue to play that soundscape. Sandbox, all that different, like there's so much more in this as well, stacked on top of all the different options. You're going to see repeating things, but you also will find some new things within this as well. You're seeing the 3 little dots on the outside of some of those. That just means it has multiple options, the A, B, C, D, and etc. On top of the regular effect. Then we're looking at basic colors. As you scroll through this, ingredients, dessert, natural, emotion, stars, it actually gives you pictures and colors that would coordinate with that. That's pretty cool. It may give you other options that are harder to find just scrolling through the color wheel with this. So that's all I'm going to kind of cover with the app here. Again, that was a lot. I'm just going to let this roll out now. I'm going to showcase music as I finish this out. With that, you can do it so that you're playing music off of your phone, and then it's just sending it. You're more limited in that in terms of the effects that you're going to have, because really we just have party, dynamic, calm. You can say auto color, or you can dictate a certain color, or there is on the control box, it basically has like a microphone. It'll pick up on the sound, so you could do it so, hey, it's going to pick up on the sound coming from your computer or speakers, and then that gives you more options in terms of effects. So there is a lot, again, that you can do in this app. They cover their bases. It honestly feels very overwhelming. In terms of the brightness, I love the brightness with this. I've had it on my desk now for 3 weeks. No issues there. Install was easy. I love the look of this thing. So I was holding off on this for a long time. I don't know. I was just kind of skeptical as to whether or not it was gonna be any good. But I'm really, really impressed with this. I've always been impressed with Govee products, which is why I have so many. And this on the 3rd rig that I have in the house in my bedroom is now it's made it so I can actually shoot B-roll off of this, because it adds that flair that I want in my videos when I'm reviewing things like a monitor. So this is a really solid product. The 2 different options with this as well. They are at different price points, but you can go with the 9.8 foot one or the 16 foot one, depending on the size of your desk and how much you actually need with this. Again, you could always cut that down, so don't worry about that. So this gets a huge thumbs up from me. I don't have any negatives to say about this product. I just really like this product. I think they nailed it with this. And again, I held off for so long, but I've just been blown away by this. I'm glad I actually got this product. So I will have a link for this in the description, like I mentioned earlier, if you want to pick this up for both different sizes here. If you guys have any questions about this, let me know in the comment section. If you liked the video, hit the like button for me, as it helps the channel out. If you want to continue to follow along with all my content, hit the subscribe button for me. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.